Hello and welcome everybody to the very first session of the TIM Technology in Maritime 2021 Global Virtual Conference. We've just finished the auspicious inauguration of the TIM, and now we are ready to come to you with our very first session of the day. This TIM conference is going to be active for the next one day, today and tomorrow. This is maritime industry's largest technology event, and we have built a lot of hard work has gone into building a fantastic forum for networking where thousands and thousands of individuals and professionals will come and bond and network over the next 2 days of networking sessions. So we have some amazing personalities with us, and today, as I start the first session, we want to welcome Captain Eero Lehtovaara from Finland. Eero is the head of the Regulatory and Public Affairs ABB Marine Ports, Finland. And Eero is a versatile and highly skilled and hugely experienced maritime professional. And welcome, Eero. But before I hand over to Eero, I would like the tech team to just play an introduction for our viewers to know where Eero is coming from and what amazing things that he can bring to the TIM conference. So kindly play Eero's introduction, please.
Captain Eero Lehtovaara, Head of Regulatory and Public Affairs, ABB Marine and Ports. Eero Lehtovaara occupies a unique position within ABB Marine and Ports as the internal and external focal point for the relationship between maritime technology and regulation, with the remit to advance mutual understanding between stakeholders in both areas. Eero reports to ABB Marine and Ports Executive Management, and as a Master Mariner and previous Head of Marine Design House, takes a special interest in ship management and operating technology, including energy efficiency, bridge operations, navigation and autonomous ships. He is a member of ABB's Intelligent Ship and Digitalization Group and its Regulatory Affairs Steering Committee. Externally, Eero is ABB's representative to an array of national, EU and global maritime agencies and NGOs. He is ABB delegate to Sea Europe, the Waterborne Technology Platform, the IMO Green Voyage 2050 Global Industry Alliance, and others. He currently chairs 1C, the Industry Alliance on Autonomous Ships, and the CMAC Working Group 21 on azimuthing and non-conventional propulsion solutions. Eero represents ABB in a number of classification societies committees like ABS, DNVGL, and Lloyd's Register. Currently, Eero also chairs the recently established CMAC Digitalization Strategy Group. An Associate Fellow of the Nautical Institute and a graduate of the IMD Business School of Lausanne ABB Senior Leadership Development Program, Eero is also ABB Marine and Ports spokesman, responsible for promoting public understanding of scientific developments in marine technology. The Naval Connection proudly presents Captain Eero Lehtovaara as a speaker at the Technology in Maritime TIM 2021 Global Virtual Conference.
Welcome Eero, to our forum of TIM. We are very proud to have you as one of our speakers. Thank you for your engagement with TIM conference, and everybody and hundreds and thousands of people are watching you live now while you speak, and there are so many things that there are so much interesting stuff that they can learn from you on smart ships and autonomous ships. So I will hand over to you now, Eero, for the next 20 minutes, and then we will get into a round. I have some interesting questions which I want to ask you, some doubts which I want to clarify on autonomous and smart ships. So Eero, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. It sounded like a handful. I will try to share my screen, hopefully managing to do that successfully. Let me see. I hope, Shukat, that you can see my screen now.
Absolutely, yes. You can go ahead, Eero.
Thank you so much. And good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. As the introduction hinted, I work for ABB Marine and Ports, and let's focus on one of the many things that we are doing at ABB. One thing to say is that we are obviously a technology company working quite broadly and very much dedicated to sustainability and digitalization, which is of course one of the topics that we are seeing today. It was quite hard to decide what to talk about and what to present, but that I'm trying to explain a little bit what we're doing specifically when it comes to the newer technologies on ship operations. And one of the things that we should start from is that we have already quite a lot of technology on board ships. Some of them are regulated, and some of them are just coming on board because we feel that they help us. But in general, you could say that nearly everything on ship operations, especially when it comes to navigation, is very much manual, either in the sense that we transfer digital information manually to other systems or to ourselves, or we fully manually gather information, like information about the surroundings that we have, doing that manually through the function of the lookout. All of that obviously is processed by the officer of the watch in order to make decisions, whatever those decisions are. Now, there's a lot of discussion and lately there has been a lot of discussion on accidents and the reasons for accidents, and sometimes I feel that they are very much trying to put the seafarer generically in blame, but I would say that when it comes to technology, one of the issues that we're getting more and more is the cooperation between the systems, the people on board and the machines on board. And I think it's time for us, when ships are getting bigger, the shipping lanes are getting busier, that we accept the fact that in some cases the human perception is just not enough anymore. When we have really large ships, docking, tug operations, narrow passages are a challenge that require quite a lot from the people on board, and also the communication between the people watching the different corners of the ships. We are also, especially in port areas and especially in bad conditions like fog, rain, snow, night, there's an increasing pressure for canals and ports to continue ship operation even when the weather conditions deteriorate. And those might be areas where we need to have additional assistance from wherever we can get it, and then some of that is obviously, in my mind, provided by systems that can support the sailor on board. There's obviously the situation that everyone that has been on the bridge of the ship is that when you have hundreds or even thousands dots on your radar screen, it's impossible to have a full control of everything. So we need to maybe have tools to help us prioritize or even monitor and keep an eye on stuff that we will not be able to do. And then there's obviously the opposite of that, which is I don't know, worst case or best case scenario is that when you're crossing an ocean and you have wonderful weather all the time, there's no sea, there's really nothing, and you're doing a long haul and there's almost no course corrections or anything else, and no traffic to be seen, then it might start getting boring, and it's easy to lose focus. Now, what could and how could we implement autonomous technologies? One is as I said, is really to see that there are information gathering processes that are fully manual, where there is a possibility of everything from misunderstanding to misconception, and when that is brought forward, then there's kind of an uncertainty growing exponentially all the time, and it can, or in worst cases, be a risk for decision making. Now, going forward, to use available technologies that can improve the situational awareness, to use technologies that will keep focus, and technologies that will remember, and as long as everything works, as always with any technology, they keep their minds on the task, they keep the focus, and they will be able to support the decision making on board. Now, there's obviously a procedure, a setup that is required when we are doing computer-based or software-based solutions to assist in the operations. But in a sense, they are very much operating the same way as we are doing as individuals on board. We collect information, we are using eyes and ears and some other senses, but the technology brings just the possibility to have even a few more information points to follow up, and then we need to figure out how to do with that information and verify that, and then in the end we need to act, whether it's just altering course or making any other decisions. It is very much the same as we do, but the important part is to see how it fits together, and how we are kind of looking at the big picture. Obviously, one of the issues that we are having there is that when we are looking at all the possible tools, all the possible systems that are helping, we need to be sure that they are giving us the right information. This slide is just some of the tools that are already today available for ships, and that can make the operations, I wouldn't say easier, but that it would free the watchstanders to be sure that some things are under control, even when they are not focusing on that. One of the discussions that is always coming up is that is this too complicated? Will this endanger operations? And obviously, what does all of this mean when it comes to manning on ships or crewing, as we're saying today? I would say that these are just tools, the same way that the autopilot is a tool, and the ECDIS is a tool, and the radar is a tool. And the question is to work with them and to see that they are helping us, or the seafarer of today, to do their job as efficiently and as safely as possible. One thing that I also think that should not be forgotten is that in my mind, when we are talking about international IMO regulated traffic with larger ships, we will have the crew on board for a very long foreseeable time in the future. But it is also clear that how we work on board will change. What are the tools that we are going to use? They are going to change. There will be some, especially in some positions, there will be new knowledge that will be required, that needs to be adapted, and but all of that also needs to fit into what I would like to call the ship as a system. I think that we need to see, design, test, and use the ship as a system, not as an assembly of individual components that may or may not talk to each other, but we need to see the ship in a different sense. I would also say that the ship is part of a larger system, which is the whole logistic chain from the sending port to the receiving port, with the ship in between. And in order to really reach the full potential of efficiency, but which is also quite directly translated to sustainability, is for us to use as much of the technology that is available to do our jobs as well as possible. There are obviously a number of things that will be affected. I think that in order to save fuel or save time, is that all the operations, all maneuvering, everything can be made more safe, more efficient, and it's also a good not good, but it's an observation that we are starting to see statistically an increased amount of damages into ports and canals and waterways infrastructures, and that obviously has a great impact on the efficiency and the cost of operational efficiency of the port or the ship. And in some cases, it's always so easy to say, well, the captain didn't know what they were doing, but we do have pilots that are helping. We have tugs helping. We have the crew on board. But in some cases, I would say that the situational awareness and we are not providing the industry all the tools that could be used in order to make it safer. I would say that already a proper tool to assess distances to objects would help the crew on board to make the right decisions in good time when they know the actual ratio of movements, because there's so many different that will impact on how you perceive movement and mass, and ships are getting bigger. Some people say that they can't get bigger, but I've heard that since 30 years that now the ships are at their maximum, they can't get bigger. And first time I realized that this discussion was going on was somewhere in the 90s when Maersk was launching a 4,250 TEU ship, and everyone said that now it can't get bigger, and we're talking about ships between 20 and 30,000 TEU at the moment. So it's just something that I think that we need to take into consideration, that at some stage it's a human perception in censoring is maybe not the best possible. However, I think that the human decision making and adaptivity is still in the level that where we have still some ways to go with technology. And obviously, there's also the issue of communication. The miscommunications are one or two of the reasons that we are seeing today for some of the accidents that we are seeing all around. So just to summarize a little bit, I would say that when it comes to specifically my job, there's a lot of things to be done on the regulatory side. And the fact is that these technologies are coming to ships for a large number of various reasons, but that they are coming to ships. On the other hand, we could say that there's a lot of technology that is not coming to ships, either because they are not required. There's no regulation supporting that, which means that they are perceived only as a cost. But lately, we are seeing that there's so much coming up in the name of efficiency. We have seen the MEPC decisions on EEXI. We have seen that there will be more emission trading schemes coming up. There will be more monitoring of ships' operational efficiency, and more of this will be reality in the near future. However, I don't think that we will see fully autonomous ships in the near future. Now, when we're talking about autonomy in general, I think it's very clear that we will have small road ferries doing 10-15-minute trips over a fjord or a river. They will, in a very short period of time, I think that they will be electric. They will be autonomous. They will operate basically on the same algorithm, on the same software as elevators do, and they will be connected to a operational monitoring center that will monitor several road ferries. I think that we will see ships with autonomous systems, some level of autonomy, some level of autonomous functions, some level of support to the crew. Situational awareness is one of the things that will be addressed almost immediately when we are starting to see these things. But we've already been talking about a number of years about the B0 concept, about the conditionally and temporarily unattended bridge. The technology gives us the possibility to do that. That doesn't mean that we can get rid of the crew, but that the administration of the crew, the work that the crew is doing is changing, and I think, as it has been throughout the development throughout the last centuries, the change is inevitable. The change will come. It's already partially here. Whether we are seeing a revolution is then completely another thing. I think that this evolution already started in the 80s with autopilots and radars and everything else. Those are all tools to support the crew to do their job as efficiently and as safely as possible. And I think that more or less covers what I was planning to say today, and I think that we will take questions if there are any.
Eero, fantastic presentation. In fact, it was so engrossing. You covered so much of things, and we could go on for one full day on this. It's power packed, and I felt each and every line was worthy of a session by itself. Yeah, we could make out how much you worked on all this, and what kind of experience you bring into this industry. Yeah. So, Eero, I think we've actually covered out the time, but then I will give 5 minutes as a grace option for taking in questions. We've got some questions which I've filtered. I want to ask you the most important ones, because we just have time for 2 questions, because if you see the agenda, we are running back-to-back schedules. Eero, the most important part of digitization, and especially in autonomous ships, have been the question, and it can sometimes rage to furious debates, and but I have to ask you this question about whenever we talk about autonomous ships, especially in the circuit of sailors, they think, and we think, and the maritime industry thinks, that there's a debate going on as to whether the advent of autonomous ships will take away jobs of sailors. If you can throw some light in very short, I mean, will the sailors be out of jobs with the advent of autonomous ships?
I don't think so. It's a good question, and something that pops up every time when we're talking about this. I think that when we're talking about larger vessels, ships over 200 to 2,000 gross tonnage, I don't really see that we are that far yet, and it will take a very, very long time before we see that we are getting rid of the sailors. As I said in my presentation, also, even when we are talking about technology and planning that we are seeing that it's specifically producing technology to help the current sailors to do their job as efficiently as possible. There's still a long way to go for machines to actually come to the level of adaptation and decision making as humans have. So for larger ships, no, not in the near future. I don't see that as an issue.
Well, fantastic. There's one more question from the platform. Somebody, Robert, has asked Eero, and I read out his question. What do you think we should tackle first in terms of upgrading the onboard systems?
I think that situational awareness and related alarms are really the ones that we should work most on. Those are the easiest one. Distances to places like ports and bridges and container cranes and so on. Those are tools with cameras, lidars, all the technology that we have connected to most of the technology that we already have is the lowest hanging fruit in my mind.
Right. So, Robert, I think we've got your answer to that question. Thanks for coming up with such an interesting question. I wanted to ask you one more question which we received from a seafarer, and we all want to know, Eero, from you. When do you think this autonomous will become a reality? We've been talking of it for the last few years, and although we are hoping for it to come, we do have one presentation tomorrow where Anne is going to talk about autonomous ship and remote operations of vessel as a reality. But in the commercial terms, when do you see autonomous ships becoming a full reality in the industry?
That's a trick question because we haven't really defined what is autonomy, and the autonomy levels have not been agreed on. We have already now the first ships with autonomous features and autonomous systems already launched and tested as we speak. But unmanned, uncrewed, large IMO vessels, I don't see that in the short term. Firefighting tugs and alike, those are reality already today. Those we can make today if somebody wants them. But as I said, people are still so much better than machines, but that it's a right combination of the right skills in people and the right technologies that will be the winning concept.
Eero, we've got a lot of questions coming in. I mean, I don't want to leave you, but then I'll take one last moment of your time for one last question. I think, let me read out the name. Sudhakar has mentioned, and he said, with Rolls-Royce coming up with autonomous ships, are the ships going to be fully autonomous with no persons on board at all, or will there be seafarers on board, thereby preventing unemployment? I think you've answered partly that, but if you just could throw some more light on this, and then just 30 seconds more.
No, I think that we will have systems to support the crews on board. So it's a combination of both. We will not see uncrewed ships for a very long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your engagement and engaging with TIM conference with Eero Lehtovaara, a very big expert in autonomous and smart vessels. Eero, like I said, we could go on and on for one full day with you, and we are going to definitely bring you back on our conferences. And we are running back-to-back schedules. Ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers who are watching us live through our Facebook and YouTube channels, the Naval Connections page, all of you, we thank Lehtovaara for discussing the ways ahead on autonomous ships and becoming a reality. Till we come back to you, Eero, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. You can, in the networking session, visit all the different booths of HSBC, Storm Geo, Bloom's Technology, Storm HIMT, and Wärtsilä, and Ocean Technologies Group. Till then, in 10 minutes time, we will come back with another expert who we wait eagerly to come and talk to us about technologies. Eero, thank you very much. And wherever you are in Finland, stay safe, stay happy, and continue the amazing work that you do. We need you in the industry, spreading all that much knowledge. So thank you. And from here,
thank you very much.
Connection, namaskar and adieu.